crib. Ah. All right, so cool. We have 3 live viewers. Thank y'all for so much for chiming in with us. What I did was just so ghetto. But I just want to let y'all know this is real life, y'all. This is real life. All right. So we're gonna get into Bible study after dark. I see Deja in the comments. She said she just shared. Thank you so much for sharing. All right. Let me make sure I'm good on my end. This is Bible study after dark, y'all. Bible study after dark. I think it's gonna be really good. We have a series lined up for you all that we think is going to be great. I see Dr. Anna in the waiting room.
Come on in.
Come on in.
Hey. I was like, let me in, y'all. Let me in.
We see you. We see you. Welcome, Dr. Anna. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How y'all doing?
Doing well. Doing well. We got Sister Danita on with us.
There we go.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Awesome. I see we have 4 live viewers. So I'm just trying to get around to sharing right now. This is a new series that we are doing called Bible Study After Dark. And we want everybody to participate. We want everybody to be involved. I think we're going to touch on some great topics that will kind of kind of scratch the surface a little bit. Let's scratch the surface. So let's just see if we're live on YouTube. And we are. Let's get it. I'm not going to waste any more time. We were late due to my technical difficulties, but I thank you all for your patience. So welcome to the first installment of Bible Study After Dark, y'all. Welcome. So I don't want to give too many preliminaries today. I don't want it to overextend that. But if you're following us, you know exactly, y'all. You know exactly what we're getting into tonight. So we're excited to jump into our first topic, which is entitled Church Clothes. Church clothes. We're about to scratch the surface a little bit as it pertains to church clothes. Let's all just say I actually listened to the whole Church Clothes one last night, the whole thing. Yes, bro. Yes, man. It brought back so many memories, man. To like when I first got saved, like that's what was out then, right? We got Elder Shine in the comment section. What's up, Elder Shine? So yeah, so if you do not know Lecrae, he does have an album out, mixtapes out from the past called Church Clothes. So check it out. I highly recommend it. So, but first, I want to give a shout out to my co-teachers who are on the line with me. I got Dr. Anna.
Hey, y'all.
Yep. Got Minister Warren.
Brother Warren is fine. That's good.
Both of them are official, and I'm just glad that they're hanging out with us tonight. So the first installment, again, y'all, is Church Clothes. So this is going to be a 3-part series. I'm going to take the first part with the history of church clothes. Dr. Anna is taking the next part. That will be the first Tuesday of October. And she's going to touch on what does the Bible say about clothes. And on the third Tuesday of October, we got Brother Warren. I'm gonna respect him. We got Brother Warren. He's going to touch on the clothes versus the heart. So tonight, y'all, we're going to get into the history of the church clothes. So history of church clothes. So let me just open the floor. When you hear church clothes, what is the first thing that comes to mind?
I'll let Anna touch it.
The first thing that comes to my mind is it must be down to your ankles. And then in my head, I picture some silk satin for whatever reason, like old school motherboard clothing, silk satin all the way down to your ankles. That's what I think about when I hear church clothes.
Okay.
It's just a button up for me. You button up, a tie, a suit jacket, some slacks, and some dress shoes.
I got you. Deja said in the comments, clothes you do not play in.
Oh, you ain't playing in them?
You don't play in.
You gotta have your Sunday best.
Right. Sister Danita says, long skirts and long sleeves.
Ain't trying to see no shoulders. Ain't trying to see no shoulders.
It's the no shoulder zone. Church clothes. First thought is presentation.
Everything.
I like that. I like that presentation. So thank y'all for chiming in. We think about the 3-piece suits. We think about women with dresses. We think about the church hats and all of that. But just to open the conversation up just a little bit more, just among us, between Dr. Anna, Brother Warren, and myself, we only have about 30 years of experience as it pertains to like church. We're pretty young. As long as we can remember, church clothes have been identified as what we just named, right? The suits, the hats, the silk, you know what I'm saying? The button ups. But I would say, and I want to see if Dr. Anna and Brother Warren agree with me. I'm about to call y'all Anna and Warren. I just feel
Please,
like I'm just.
bro, I don't know what you're doing anyway, bro. Like,
But what do you all think, man? In like the last 15 years, I've seen like a change in regard to church clothes. Like what have you all seen in regard to that?
Warren, I'll let you go first this time.
like, it's like it's like for me, it's been I would even say last noticeably like 5 to 8.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's like to actually like notice it, to see like the change in clothing, and it definitely, yeah, I agree with Deja. It's more casual, like it's more, like it's like even like looking at like Sean's comment too, like you know what I'm saying, presentation, best foot forward. It's just kind of a shift in what that looks like according to the generations that are like coming up.
Yeah.
You know, and so like the best foot forward, you know what I'm saying, like for me is, of course, you know, I look dapper as all get out in a suit. You know what I'm saying? And it is cool. But there's also other like things that I think I could put my best foot forward in. So I mean, I've just noticed that like it's just a shift, man, just in terms of just how comfortable and how there's other clothing that's also appropriate, and how it's not always about, you know what I'm saying, putting every cotton layer of clothing on that has no real like biblical grounding, cultural, sure, I'll give you that, but like biblical grounding in terms of just like, you know, like what are we doing? But yeah, the shift I've definitely seen, especially with the millennial and the Gen Zs and all them like come up, like strong baby boomers, not kind of a little bit, not for real, but definitely strong with the millennials and Gen Zs.
Okay. And
I agree with that. It has become more casual,
yeah.
but I still feel like it's a lot of pressure on the females when it comes to church clothes. Like when I look around church, I see like different guys. I'm like, oh, they can wear jeans and t-shirt on whatever day, or they look real relaxed, and whether they dress up or dress down. Their females, it's like, we don't really have that luxury to, you know, truly be free in terms of church clothes.
I say you got a yes.
That is true.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm glad that y'all chimed in. And just to take it back a little bit, I remember when Bishop James A. Johnson, I remember when like we first implemented like every fourth Sunday will be like a dress down Sunday. Do y'all remember that?
Yeah, casuals. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that was years ago. Like, wow, like I saw it start to like take place then. And like we were saying, like it's been a major shift. We went from wearing slacks to jeans like regularly. You know what I'm saying? It got away from that fourth Sunday. Well, I can speak for myself. It kind of got away from that fourth Sunday vibe, and it's like, okay, I'm wearing this like a lot now. We went from wearing heels to J's. Like I saw Diamond had on some J's the other day when she was directed. Shout out to Diamond Flanagan. Shout out to you. So like we actually seen this shift. But tonight we want to tackle the origination of church clothes.
Okay.
Like when and where did this stuff start? And I'm going to lead the discussion. And Warren and Anna, just chime in where you can. So let's hop into it. Where did church clothes start? Where did this idea come into play, y'all? So dressing up, this is for my research that I've done. Dressing up for church became popular in the first half of the 19th century. So let me give y'all some context. The 19th century had to do with went from the dates of January 1st, 1801 to December 31st, 1900. So this is when like dressing up for church became popular. Like, oh my goodness. So it was first in England, then in Europe, and then in America. So that kind of shocked me, like, because it confronted this idea that dressing up for church came about in the Pentecostal church. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like, wow. So you mean like Grandma Rosa that went to the Pentecostal church in St. Louis, like around the corner, she didn't start the dressing up movement? Nope. Not at all. So that what do you all, how you all feel about that? Like it didn't start with us.
I mean, like I knew it started like heckers ago.
Yeah.
You know, just when Christianity was handed off to a lot of Americans, it came from, you know what I'm saying, the settlers to some extent. And so like they, as culture does, it picks up on what's around it. You know what I'm saying? It adopts, you know, what it sees. So it's not too surprising to know like that it originated back then. But that's also like kind of, it's like far away, but also not. It's really, it's kind of weird to think about. Like it's like 1800, like beginning 1800s, but like church didn't start at the beginning of the 1800s. So I was like, my first thought was like, what was they wearing before that it got popular? Like what was the swag?
Right. I think we need to dive into that too. Dr. Anna, did you have anything?
Yeah, I was about to say, if you look, and I know I'm going to handle most of the biblical part, but it actually started before then, but it was more so the priests would dress up and have their priestly attire, and then it trickled down, well, if the priests are dressing up to be in the presence of God, then everybody should dress up to be in the presence of God and to show that respect for being in God's presence.
Oh, I know yours gonna be good. I know it's gonna be good. She's researching already. I love it.
She in Leviticus.
Exactly.
Let's get it. So y'all be on the lookout, y'all. This it does not stop tonight as our discussion about church clothes goes. So hey, Dr. Anna already giving y'all some heat. It started before then. All right. So let's get it, y'all. Let's get it. All right. So this is some more from my research. The reason why dressing up for church became popular was because of the Industrial Revolution. So we saw all of these little factories popping up. We saw all of these machineries being made, and like clothes just started popping. So it's that reason, and also the emergence of the middle class. So we know that poor people and middle class people around this time, they couldn't afford clothes like that, right? They only had like 2 sets of clothes. One set was for their work, and the other set of clothes was for just a night out. You know what I'm saying? So the idea of having church clothes, that wasn't it for the poor and middle class. So when the emergence of the middle class start to boom, when we start to see these factories being made, people, and I'm glad that Warren kept throwing around this word culture, because it means everything to this topic. All right, so let's keep going in our notes. Let's go. This is an idea that stuck out to me as well. It says this idea of dressing up for church wasn't theologically based, it was culturally based.
Yes.
Ooh, let's just sit on that for a little bit. It wasn't theologically based, but it was culturally based. I see Doc brewing. I see you brewing.
Yes, because I mean it makes sense even to this day. It's like you can look through a lot of stuff, even Bible, and you pull up a couple scriptures, but a lot of it is based on quote unquote church rules, right? Because the Bible gives some direction, but it leaves more discretion to whoever your leadership is in that. Some of it is shaped by culture. That's where the whole casual movement came into play, right? But yeah, a lot of it it is shaped by rules, regulations, people, and culture.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So this stuff is like really, really surprising. So, Warren, did you have something, bro?
I mean, if anything, it was just like to point out, like to some degree, like it's definitely like, it's not based on theological. But if we look in the Bible, not trying to take Anna's thunder here, but culture played a strong role in the things that like played out through like the whole Bible. Like culture has a strong piece in terms of the foundation of the church, in terms of how people moved and operated and spoke. So there is an importance to the church in terms of like understanding how culture plays a role into that, and also was the doctrine, what I'm saying, in terms of let's make sure we're separating it. Like it's an important factor that plays a role, but is this actually theological? You know what I'm saying, which is completely different.
Yeah. And you just actually threw out a word that was in my notes. So now that we've established that this wasn't theologically based, now that we've established this is more a cultural influence as it pertains to like dressing up, now that we've established also that dressing up for church wasn't really for everybody at one time, it was just for the rich and the wealthy. Do you think the church, the capital C, we're not talking about any type of local church, do you think we as the church should use dressing up as a doctrine? I think we kind of answered the question a little bit.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna try to be a careful honest, and that it is important that we don't necessarily stop to look at dress before we stop to look at a soul.
That's it.
Like above everything else, we shouldn't be looking at someone for what they have on. We should be trying to look at what fruit they bearing and what word they may need. Because at the end of the day, above everything else, we got to be here for the soul. So like, if you looking, not careful, if you paying so much attention to what people are wearing that you are distracted from if they need salvation and what needs to impart in them, like that's where we have a problem. So in that way, I do not think that clothing needs to be doctrine. Nor is it doctrine, because you know what I'm saying, Jesus didn't walk around looking at him, okay, your robe is kind of slothy. I don't know if I can give you a miracle today. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Doc, what you got?
I agree. And I like how we're going to build upon this topic, right? Because it really is the heart issue. Like, what's the heart of it? And if we don't pay too much attention to what people have on and allow them to get their heart right, then it'll also allow them to let God fix their heart to dress appropriately in His presence.
Yeah.
Well, I want to add on to something after that, because so like I've talked with some women in the church. I can't deal with it,
bro. I dare you. While you working the camera,
I've been talking to my friends. You know what I'm saying? Like some of the women that I know. Like, okay, what is your reasoning for wearing a dress if you have the understanding that it's not necessarily like doctrine or needed for salvation, that you wear this clothing in order to, like, you know what I'm saying, be saved? And they said, like, you know what I'm saying, for example, my sister, I can use her. She's like, I just felt convicted and it was something that God called me to do. And so just going back to what Anna said, if we focus on the soul and on salvation, God will do what He needs to do in order to get their lives what He wants them to like be perceived and look like. Because when you spend more time with Him, you're going to look like Him. Like I just read somewhere talking about like we're going to like the mirror of His glory. You know what I'm saying? Like, and as we spend more time with Him from glory to glory, we become to look more like Him. So as we spend time in His presence and His will and just know more about Him, we're going to be shaped as Him. We're going to be molded. And that means the way we look, the way we talk, the way we see things is all going to change.
That's good. I love it, y'all. And I love how you both kind of touched on your topics that you will be touching on later on in the coming weeks.
It's so hard not to.
Yeah. And I think we need to be giving people like taste of, you know what I'm saying, what's to come. So I think that's really, really, really good. For me, I don't feel like dress should be doctrinated. I feel like the Bible speaks of a quality of dress. I feel like the Bible speaks about dress. So we're not knocking dress at all. We're not knocking church clothes at all. But we're focusing more on the heart of the matter, right? Of course, we have these logistics, but we'll get into all of that. We'll get into all of that. I feel like my teachers eloquently said what they need to say. We have a loving this series already, y'all. So that means a lot to us. That really does mean a lot. Appreciate you, bro. All right, so let's go into part 2. So again, y'all, we've established that clothes were not the hot commodity for the poor and the middle class. We established that the middle class start to emerge, factories start to come up. Hey, more people were able to buy more clothes. So we've established that, right? So let's go into part 2. As I was doing my research, I found this quote. It says various church groups of the 18th and 19th century resisted this cultural momentum among the middle class. So let's think about that. Various Christian groups of the 18th and 19th century resisted this cultural momentum among the middle class. So we see the middle class, they're getting more expressive in their clothing, they're getting more pieces. And the older Christians like, yo, we don't like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and how much more does that sound like today? You know what I'm saying?
Many parallels. So many parallels.
Yes.
Right.
So I thought about, man, this is something, and we're gonna go more into that. It says, and we're actually almost done, y'all. Those of the 18th and 19th century felt as if wearing of decorative clothing and demonstrative jewelry was worldly and prideful. Yeah, they was talking about this in the 19th century.
Yeah.
And stuff has not changed at all.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I got something in the comments. Please say that for the folks in the back, Tyler. We are not knocking dress. Heart above heart. Yes. Yes, so true. Sister Danita says, things have not changed much at all.
Nothing new under the sun. That's scripture.
Right.
Nothing new. So, and it gets, as I was doing my research, it got a little particular, and we're going to create some discussion around this, but it got particular about the denominations that had problems with this type of dress, right? So it was the Methodists and Baptists. Those were the two, and I know we got to talk about this one, y'all. The Methodists and the Baptists were the two denominations, the two biggest denominations against excessive wear. As they saw other churches progressing, they had to work a little bit harder.
Mm.
So let's kind of just bags there. Like, we see that this restrictive wear caused people to work a little bit harder in their churches because they saw those who, and I read this in my research. I don't have it in my notes. Those churches who were a little bit more lenient in regard to dress, they were like having people like flock to them, right? And the Methodists and the Baptists, like, yo, they're leaving our churches to go to these churches. Now we have to work a little bit harder to, to kind of keep up. So what are you all's thoughts about that? Do you think that's true, or do you think a church can progress with restrictions like that?
I mean, I think there's some truth to that, right? Because some people clothing is a point of contention. It can be a point of bondage. It is some classism in terms of dress. So if you have a church or a place of worship where you can be free in that department too, yes, I'm gonna go there. So I can be free in my dress and also be free to worship. Now, sometimes if you feel like, oh, I don't fit in here because my skirt is not down to my ankles, or I may be showing shoulder today, I can't worship correctly, right? Or they're judging me when I walk in. So I don't want to be judged just based on what you see here. So I'm gonna go to this other place so I can worship and be free.
Wow, man, that can hinder worship.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? Like being perceived like that can really hinder worship. Wow.
It could even be like, look at, so like, of course, scripture, you want to be a stumbling block to our brother. What if the stumbling block isn't necessarily
I had to lean up. I had to lean up. Come on. Come on and say it. Come on and say it. It's on the tip of your tongue. Go ahead and say it. I handle your inboxes, okay? You go ahead and say it. I got your back.
You know what I'm saying? Let's just be mindful of what the stumbling block like actually is. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? Like, because if I'm not free in my worship because of how you feel about me and how you looking at me, and I can't get to look at God because I'm over here looking at your side eye, just, how are we both? Because neither of us are in the presence right now.
Wow.
Right.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying? So where's the stumbling block actually occurring? It's not just about, you know what I'm saying, pointing somebody else out and looking at they sin and pointing out they like plank in their eye. No. Look at yours too. Because right now, what are you doing that's open the kingdom? Like what is it that you doing? Let me stop because I'm gonna get
No, this is good.
You know
somebody needed to hear that. It's gonna help free somebody, okay?
Yeah.
Amen. I don't want to get too much because I could slide right into my topic on accident again.
But man, it was something to see that, like older churches really felt like people were prideful and worldly because they got a little bit more money. The world was improving. You know what I'm saying? We were able to be a little bit more free in our clothing, and they thought it was worldly and prideful. Like,
but that's still the same, bro, but just in different ways, bro. The church wants to hold on to what it's familiar with.
That's good.
Like that's even early on, you see a form of tradition in the sense of like, this is what I'm used to. And even if it is a form, because of course you got classism, socioeconomic status, all that stuff that plays a role into the elevation of a dress, having the ability and all that stuff. At the end of the day, this is what I'm comfortable and used to. This is what I know. I don't want to have to change because everybody else is. So how can I stay consistent and like hold on to what I want, not necessarily growing with whatever's happening around? Now, of course, there are some reasons that you definitely need to block off and put your boundaries and not let everything, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not everything is good for me just because I can take part in everything. You understand?
Okay, Paul.
So yeah, man, it's just being mindful of that, man, because tradition isn't always what we set up, but it's what we hold on to.
I like that.
And sometimes holding on to stuff, it'll kill you. So look at the children of Israel when they was in the wilderness, trying to hold on to stuff.
That's good.
Mindset or anything that is physical.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. All right. I love it. And y'all, we are creating discussion. This is about church clothes. Again, today we're dealing with the history of church clothes. On our next session, we'll be dealing with what does the Bible say about clothes. I'm sorry, I had a fly here. And the last session, y'all, we'll be dealing with the heart versus the clothes. So we want you all to come back. We're not done just yet. We got a few more minutes, a few more things to touch. But I really want to deal with this is some more research. And yeah, this has all been research that I've been giving you all. Probably, some of the stuff is not my personal opinion. But I just wanted to do the research on history. I wanted to create some discussion, and we're doing just that tonight. Trinae, what's up, Trinae? Trinae has been in the comments. I love it. She says, oh, this is what Warren says. Yeah, she's quoting Warren. Tradition isn't always what we set up, but what we hold on to. That was good. Good. Dr. Anna and Warren, they in here straight on fire. All right. So look, I want to touch on this last topic before we kind of shut it down for the night. It says, and I did some research on why do Black people dress up for church? Why do Black people dress up for church? Why do African Americans dress up for church? So I really want to touch on this. So one of the quotes says, "Get it out your head that all Black people are poor."
Exactly.
That was really good. And also get it out your head that all Black people go to church. So here's some reasons some elders pass down on why Black people dress up for church. The first thing is, and Elder Shine, he mentioned this: you present your best self before God.
Yep.
So that was one of the reasons why Black people go to church. You present your best self before God. This is what it says. It was instilled within us that God is the supreme being and Lord of our creation. And we were taught that church is the house of God, the physical place where the presence of God is manifested. In the same way that we will wear our finest clothes to meet the Queen of England, Black churchgoers dress to encounter royalty on a Sunday morning.
Deep, ain't it?
That was yeah, that was deep. That was deep. Why do Blacks dress up for church? Number two, and if y'all hear something within this and you want to create some discussion, we can go ahead and do it. Number two, why do Black people go to dress up for church? It is refreshing to look nice. When I got on something good, like I feel good. Like I feel good when you got the fresh lineup. You know what I'm saying? A fresh suit that you got tailored or something like that. That is so nice. So this is what it says: whether we like it or not, how we look influences how we feel.
True.
And in a society that is historically depicted Black people as unattractive and is still reluctant to fully celebrate a standard of beauty that is not internally informed by Eurocentric standards and ideals, dressing up makes Black people feel good. Got an exactly in the comments. Thank y'all in the comments for chiming in.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where it's about to get kind of tricky, man. This is where it's about to get tricky, y'all.
We need security again.
No. Maybe though. Maybe. And this is I think I want to talk about this a little bit. Black people dress up for church. Black people dress up for church because it's safer. Since American society has been conditioned to see Black people as threatening, if a group of Black people are seen together and they are not dressed up, it may trigger fear and potentially violent response from those who view Black people as dangerous. Because of the color of our skin, because of the color of his skin, a Black man in a suit might still get pulled over by the cops or ridiculed by white supremacists, but we are taught at a young age that there is a chance that we might avoid being killed or jailed if our appearance is non-threatening. That was sad, man.
But there's some truth to it, though.
Yeah, it's some truth.
Very much so. Very much so. Yeah, to some degree, like I think it's definitely has to, like it's some contextualness to that. You know what I'm saying? Like if a group of Black people like in a building that is a church that is recognized as a church within like a city, and it's like, oh, this is a church, this is where the Black people go. Like, ain't nobody finna run up in there and, you know what I'm saying, necessarily, generally speaking, like, what y'all doing in here? But let's just say there was, you know what I'm saying, in a non-building oriented church, and we meeting at a park, and it's just a group of us all chopping it up. We all dressed however we came. Yeah. There's a chance that depending on what's going on and who sees, that because of who we are, and if we were all dressed in suits, they could be like, oh, they Mormons. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so like there's some understanding to, if you look nice, there's less pressure, unfortunately, especially for African Americans or people who identify as Black.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody like the African American term, so you know, get them all included. It's all included. Age of inclusion over here.
Doc, you good?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's some truth to that, sadly, but yeah. So and I feel like it translates not just in the church house, but outside the church house too.
Yeah, yeah, so true, so true.
Mm-hmm.
Sister Judy says, frustrating to know our appearance is threatening with or without clothes.
That part.
Wow.
That part.
Jesus.
And you
Don't
ain't got to
matter.
say nothing to nobody. You just literally can be sitting somewhere minding your own business and you are automatically a threat.
Wow. Sean says, whether I'm in a suit or not, my skin is what threatens others.
Isn't that something?
That's something.
So,
That's something. It's something how we have to think, you know. Let me see if I can get Trene's full comment up. If not, I'm gonna have to read. Okay, the full comment. I cannot even begin to say how times after my family and I have left church and stopped at Sam's in an affluent white area, people are so impressed by a well-dressed family and treated differently. Jesus. Wow. And we want to thank y'all for y'all transparency and thank y'all for chiming in. We don't want to end on a somber note, but we know just the reality of this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And for me, it's more off my stature. Man, that's crazy. How like people can like, oh, he has on something. I can shrink back a little bit. I can feel more at peace. You know what I'm saying? No, just accept me for me. You know what I'm saying? But anyway.
Okay.
All right. So up until this point, we've dealt with why Black people dress up for church. You present yourself before God. You present your best self before God. It is refreshing to look nice. It's safer. And the last thing that we've been throwing out is this culture word. Culture. This is what we see. And the last thing is everyone else is dressed up. If I go into your church and everybody is dressed up, I'm gonna feel like, and I got this on, I'm gonna feel like, oh man, do I belong? You know what I'm saying? Can I fit in? Can I worship? I was on the phone with my mom, and anyway, let me just move on. Anyway, everyone, I was on the phone with my mom. Anyways, all right. So, so some criticize the Black church for being similar to a fashion show that judges people for what they wear. But peer pressure is influential for every group of people. Having a day set aside to feel significant and to look good encourages some to go that extra mile. For others, it is a continuation of the social burden to prioritize conformity and materialism over individuality and authenticity. As with every social group, there are always people who simply do things because it's consistent with the actions of the majority.
Yeah.
That culture thing, man.
A thought came to my mind earlier. As it was resting on my heart when Anna was talking about how like the priests back in the day in Leviticus, like they were, you know what I'm saying, they were mostly in the temple and they were mostly in the presence of God, so they wanted to look the part. And I was like, well, back then they had to go into the temple and they had to go before someone else in order to get into the presence. And now we're in a time with the new covenant to where one, the old law it got rid of, and that the new law is present, and then that we have access to the presence at any time.
Anytime.
So does that mean I need to have a suit at all times? Does that mean I need to be?
Look, that's part of my next week. Don't be touching on my topic now. Listen now.
No. I'm gonna leave off of it.
Yes, y'all. Yes. So culture plays a part.
I'm excited now, Anna.
Yeah. Man, so that's good. I'm glad that that we as a particular church, our church, I'm glad that we have grown. I'm glad that we have improved a lot as it pertains to dress, as it pertains to what people wear. And I know that can happen in a lot of churches, right? It's not up to us though. It's not up to us to just flip the script and change everything, right? That stuff has to like gradually come about. with the leader, with your leadership. So just don't go up in your church like, I want to wear some shorts on the pulpit. Like, no, that's not how that's not how we get stuff done. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm glad that whoever is growing, I'm glad that you're growing. I'm glad that you're evolving. I'm glad that we're not stuck in tradition. There's just some things that are off limits. You know what I'm saying? Like, and sometimes we have to be okay with that. You know what I'm saying? There are some things that can have a little bit more leniency, and sometimes, and that is something we have to be thankful for. Like thankful for this leniency, because it hasn't always been like this. So Trinae says, right, you want to use wisdom. You definitely want to use wisdom. Sean says, but does that always constitute improvement, though? Anybody want to chime in on that? But does that always constitute improvement? I'm trying to see what he's saying.
Y'all want to know what he's referring to specifically?
Yeah, I'm like, is it in regards to change? I'm like, yeah, we come a long way. We still got a long way to go too in terms of dress, but you know, slow changes and using wisdom.
Yeah, I believe it constitutes improvement. If what you was so used to and felt like you were bound by, when you see a little bit of light, I think that's improvement. You know what I'm saying? I don't. When I was younger, I don't really think I would have ever wore jeans to church. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that would have been the case. So I would think that there's some improvement.
I think, like, if to answer it, I don't know if dressing down exactly constitutes improvement, but I think it constitutes acceptance. Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it shows comfortability within unique people, different people who are struggling, to be able to like come and feel comfortable. Because I mean, like, for example, if I didn't know church and I came into church and I see all this suit and dress and stuff, to some extent, I wouldn't feel comfortable. But if I saw one person wearing jeans too, I'd be like, oh, okay. You know, so I think to some extent, having variability within dress allows for variability of the people to feel welcome and comfortable within a house.
I like that, the variability part and inviting some inclusivity to it. And I also think that, quote unquote, dressing down, it's not necessarily dressing down. To some people it is, especially you every Sunday in your Sunday best, and then one Sunday you come in your jeans, but it still goes back to freedom for me, right? If this is like what I feel comfortable coming into the presence of God in, and I am not condemned, right? In his presence, and I'm free to worship, why can't I wear jeans and a t-shirt to worship God, right?
I love it. I love it. Acceptance and freedom. I'm glad. I think we should just end off on that note. You know what I'm saying? Acceptance and freedom. I love it. I love it. All right, y'all. We kept you all 45 minutes, and I think it's time to wrap it up. Tonight, y'all, we delved into the history of church clothes. The first Tuesday of next month. Dr. Anna will be here with what the Bible says about church clothes. Yeah, this is a series. You do not want to miss it, y'all. Y'all want to get all of these pieces,
right?
So we know win the world, right? This is not us just to sit around and be talking. Like, we want to have the right language. You know what I'm saying? We want to have the right language, of course, first for our young people of our own church and of our own assembly. And we want to have that language for the world, that we can win them for Christ. All right, so I'm going to kick it over to Dr. Anna. You got any final words?
Nah, I look forward to continuing the conversation. I want to say it's October 5th, so we're going to be back here having another great conversation.
Yeah. And we got Brother Warren for the third Tuesday of October. I have to always think about the third Tuesday of October. The church. I keep saying the church. The clothes versus the heart versus the clothes. You got any final words, bro?
Yeah, just everybody remember that this is always just a growing conversation. That some of these are our opinions, and if you're getting hot and all that stuff and bothered, calm down in the Lord, please. Okay. And if you hot, put it in the comments so we can actually talk about it.
Right.
It's all for the growth of the kingdom. All for the growth of the kingdom.
Oh wow, we got one person committed. Oh my God, conversing for Christ. Let's go. I'll be there. That means so much. That means so much. All right, guys. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time. Hey, I'm about to end the stream. I have to tell them now. Anna and Warren, please stay on after I end it. But yeah, thank y'all so much for chiming in with us. We want to see y'all next month. Again, we love y'all. We love y'all. We love y'all to our Bethesda Temple family. Thank you for your support. To all of our visitors who are with us today, thank y'all so much for chiming in with us. It means a lot. It means a lot. Yeah, it really does. Engagement, great. All right, cool. Thank you. Thank you, Elder Shine. We love it. All right, y'all. We love y'all.
Be easy.